Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this session. If my voice is audible, please let me know on the chat. Please type audible on the chat. Good evening, Achal. Thanks, Chaitanya, for letting me know that I am audible. All right. Okay. So, good evening, all. My name is Pratibha, and we are going to start with this session on HR interviews. So, I hope you are all set for the session. And let us start. Just a little about Ethnus before we start. So, Ethnus has been helping students to realize their dreams for the last 14 years. We have been helping students to achieve those careers that they want, get those jobs that they want by helping them prepare for the recruitment tests, helping them prepare for interviews, organizing placement drives for them. So in various ways we have been doing that, and we will continue to do so. So this session is part of that action of ours to help you all realize your dreams. Now, we conduct a lot of sessions. We have a lot of information to share. We conduct help companies organize placement drives, like I told you earlier. Now, all this information is shared with you on our Telegram channel. So, if you are not a member of our Telegram channel yet, please do join. The link is on the chat. So, I hope you all have joined. If you weren't already there, I'm sure many of you are already there, and you know that you get all the information regarding our sessions there. Okay, so coming to the part of what this session is about, HR interview, frequently asked questions. Now, before we talk about frequently asked questions, I just read something very recently that I would like to share with you. So, this is an article that appeared in a British newspaper. A CFO, okay, that is the Chief Financial Officer of an organization, was hiring somebody for her team. And there was a candidate who was to appear for an interview on a particular day. And 5 minutes within the time the candidate entered the building, okay, not the interview room, 5 minutes before the candidate, 5 minutes within entering the building where the interview was to be held, the candidate was rejected. The candidate was rejected and asked to leave. Okay, so what happened was this candidate, as soon as he came, he went to the receptionist. The receptionist greeted him, said good afternoon or a good morning or whatever it is. The candidate didn't bother to even reply. He just turned his face and looked somewhere else. The receptionist tried to tell him something, just tried to engage him in a bit of conversation, but the candidate was not interested. He had come for the interview after all. Right? Now, what actually happened was that receptionist was none other than the CFO. The CFO herself was seated at the receptionist's desk to see how the candidate behaves with a receptionist. And she saw that this was how he did. He did not care, he did not respond. In fact, he did not even make eye contact with the receptionist. And once she saw this behavior, he was called to the interview room. She took him to the interview room and told him that this was not done, that every member of the organization is worthy of respect. When somebody talks to you, you look at that person and respond and not pretend like they are nobody. So she was not okay with this behavior, and that is why she asked him to leave, and of course he did not get that job. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because it's not just one aspect of the interview that is important. So we know that attire is important, body language is important, the way we answer questions is important, our behavior is also important. So there are so many things that we need to keep in mind. Okay, and when we talk about behavior, it is not some artificial behavior like, oh, they are going to see how I am behaving, so I will speak nicely to the receptionist. It should be within us, that behavior should be there, that we respond to people, look at people when we talk, and so on. Okay, so that was in general. Now we come back to what this session is going to be about, that is frequently asked questions. Now we have already conducted 2 sessions. In case you all have not attended it or viewed it, we have already conducted 2 sessions on interviews. One was about interview skills, the things that you need to keep in mind, interview do's and don'ts in fact. And the second one, which was yesterday, was about technical interview. Okay, so this is the third one. This one is about HR interview, frequently asked questions. And a few things that you need to keep in mind. We have already discussed this in the first HR in the interview do's and don'ts session. But again, I would like to list out a few things that you need to keep in mind while answering questions. Okay, so etiquette, body language is not just when you enter the room, right? It is even when you are answering the questions, the way you answer, the politeness, the body language that you use while answering, listening to the interviewer before you respond, and not stop the interviewer halfway, deciding that, okay, this is your question, let me start. Remaining calm, structuring your responses. So structuring your responses is nothing but you don't say the first thing that comes to your head, right? Though you need to answer quickly, it requires a little bit of thought at least. Okay, and there are certain kinds of questions where you can be prepared in your mind at least that this is how you're going to answer. So that way your response is structured, right? So these are all the things that you need to keep in mind while answering. I'm not talking about the entire interview, especially when answering the questions that the HR person asks you. Now that we know what we need to keep in mind, okay, I just see a few questions. One is, what is etiquette? So Kalyan asks, what is etiquette? Etiquette is rules of behavior. Okay, so rules of behavior means the way you need to respond. Now for interview etiquette are the rules of behavior that you need to follow when you are attending an interview. Okay, the way you sit, you greet that person, the way you respond when a question is asked, the politeness, the dressing etiquette for an interview, everything. Okay, the rules of behavior related to interview is interview etiquette. It need not be just about interview. It could be dining etiquette, the way you need to eat, the rules you need to follow when eating. Okay, so etiquette is nothing but rules of behavior. Here when I am talking about etiquette, I am talking about interview etiquette. All right. Okay, so yes, so I was talking about interview questions. So when an interviewer asks you questions, they are asking you for various reasons. One reason they could be asking you is just as a warm up. Okay, candidates generally are nervous when they come for an interview, and if you ask them deep questions, it might fluster them and they might feel nervous. So contrary to the popular perception that interviews, they try to make you nervous, it is not that. The interviewer also would like you to be calm and answer questions in way, that is, without you getting worried, without you getting nervous, right? So that is what warm-up questions are about. Okay. Next is your technical competency. Those questions are your technical interview questions. Questions that test your behavior and attitude. Okay. And questions that see whether you are a cultural fit for the company. So these are the different kinds of interview questions covered. Okay, so now let us go to the actual questions. Just one thing I would like to know, if my voice is audible, can you please let me know on the chat? I know initially you told me it was. Can you once again let me know if my voice is audible? Okay, thank you for letting me know. Right. So, I said we will start the questions, but one last thing I want to tell you before we start the questions. Let your answer be unique. Okay. So, what happens is a lot of people think that now these are the interview questions asked and we need to answer it this way. This is the right answer, and if you answer anything else, it is wrong. It is not like that. Okay, it's important that you answer, the question should be, the answer should be such that it should be about you. It is not that everybody give the same answer. For example, say you are attending a session on interview questions and answers, something like this, okay, a session like this, and your trainer gives you suggestions like, this is what you can say for your strengths, this is what you can say for your weaknesses. Now these are only suggestions. It is not that all of you decide that if we are asked weakness, we will say this, if we are asked strengths, we will say this. Let your answer be unique. Okay, that is important. There is no right or wrong answer. It is just that we need to keep certain things in mind, certain things we need to avoid saying. So that is what this session is about. It is not that this is the exact answer that you need to give if this question is asked. It is not a mathematical problem, right? It is about you. Remember that an interview is a conversation. They are trying to get to know you, and you should reflect in your answers and not just anybody else. Okay. So now we really go to the questions. So you can see here that there are 3 questions that I have listed. That is, tell me something about yourself, introduce yourself, tell me something about you that is not in your resume. So these are all things where you are being asked to introduce yourself, and this is that warm-up question I told you about. Okay. So it doesn't require a lot of thought. You need to wonder what to say about yourself, right? It's a comfortable question. It's about you, so you should be able to answer it without getting nervous. However, it doesn't mean that you just say anything, right? So like I told you, there are certain questions that are generally asked. Okay. So now interviews for different companies are coming up. There is a TCS, then there is Tech Mahindra, then Wipro might announce its test date soon. After that, Wipro interviews. Infy will be having its test sometime. After that, interviews there. So most of these companies, or any company, not just these companies, any company, they start with this basic question, which is a warm-up question, right? Now, when we know that this is the kind of question they ask, it makes sense to be prepared for this question and not go there and wonder what to say when they ask you, tell me something about yourself. Okay. Now, Suppose there is a candidate called Raj. Okay, so he goes to the interview. And he is in the interview room. And the first question the interviewer tells him, the question he asks him is, "Tell me something about yourself." And he starts saying, "Hi, myself Raj." Okay, so do you think this is the correct way to start his introduction, or do you think it's incorrect? Can you let me know on the chat? He says, "Hi, myself Raj." Okay, Sarvesh, so you say it is not. So why not? What is the problem? Yes, it is incorrect, but what is incorrect about it? That is what I would like to know. What is wrong about it is what I am asking. How should you say that "Hi, myself Raj" is incorrect? I am asking you, what is correct? Okay, so you're saying it should be good evening or good morning. All right, good evening or good morning, he might have already greeted them, right? He did not start again with good morning, good evening or good morning. The greeting is done. I understand that you need to greet the interviewer, but this is the question. This is not the start of the interview. He's already in the room. He's probably, before he was asked to seat himself, he has said good morning or good afternoon. All right, so here, okay, I get a few answers. Exactly, the main problem here is saying myself Raj. Okay, if you ask me to introduce myself, I cannot say myself Pratibha. It is wrong. It is I am Pratibha or my name is Pratibha. Okay, so if Raj says myself Raj, it is incorrect. That is a mistake that many people do. That's why I am talking about it. A lot of people use myself, start with myself, and they don't know that it is incorrect. Okay, it is called an Indianism actually, because if you all have heard of Indianisms is the incorrect use of English by Indians. Okay, in India there are certain terms used which are actually incorrect, but we use them. Starting the sentence with myself is one of them. Okay, so if you have been using the term myself, starting to introduce yourself with myself, you need to change that. You need to say my name is or I am. Okay, so keep that in mind. Don't start your sentences with myself. Okay, having said that, your tell me something about yourself is not entirely about grammar, right? They are not just, of course your language should be fairly good, but it is not only about grammar. What is important is the content. Why I am specifically talking about myself is when you start off your answer that way, it kind of puts the interviewer off, right? Even the starting itself is wrong. So avoid that kind of a thing. Now moving to the actual content about tell me something about yourself. Okay, so a lot of people when this question is asked, they start talking about their family history. My father is this, my mother is this, I've got so many siblings, they are doing this, and so on. Okay, now remember that every question asked by the interviewer, you need to use it to market yourself. Okay, you need to use it to market yourself. You need to make the interviewer feel that you are the right fit for the job. So your questions, you should keep these things in mind while answering. Okay, so your family history is not required. So Kalyan, we are talking about it now. Okay, so what are the things you need to say? I am talking about that now. So you can start with your name. Of course, actually the interviewer already knows your name. Okay, so it might seem redundant. The interviewer probably knows your name, has your resume in front of him or her, right? But we can start with the name. Okay, And then you go on to talk about, see, why are you being considered for the job? Because of your, your qualification, your skills, your accomplishments. These are the important things. So talk about those things. Talk about your degree, about if you are if you have performed well academically, talk about that. The things that you have accomplished, okay, related to work or something that makes you stand apart, not just some normal things, but things that will help you get that job. Talk about those things, okay. So do not talk about things that are not really necessary. So focus on your education, maybe your academic performance, maybe your any other skills that you have acquired, the main things you're good at, your main technical skills, all right, the things that you have achieved, the things that you think are important. So you can speak about all of this, all right. So that is about tell me something about yourself, and don't go on and on. You can probably go on for a minute or so, okay, or a minute or a little more than that. You have to stop. It's not that your entire story you need to mention there, right? So that is why things like this, plan in advance. So if I'm asked to talk about myself, these are the things I will say, okay. So then you introduce, so another question is tell me something about yourself, another is introduce yourself. Another thing that people probably ask is tell me something about you that is not in your resume, okay. So tell me something about yourself that is not in your resume would mean that they have your resume, right? They know the things that you're saying there. So if you have skills that you have not mentioned there, if you have achievements that you have not mentioned there, okay, so talk about those. Not create things that are not there, okay. Don't create stuff. Talk about things that are there, but because there were already other things that you have mentioned there, you have not mentioned. So speak about those things. This is for the third question only. If they are telling you to introduce yourself or tell me something about yourself, you can mention the things that are there in your resume, okay. And yes, so Sarvesh asks, can past experience be shared in this question? If you have experience, yes, please do talk about it, okay. If that experience is relevant, will help, or if you have gained some kind of skill, even if it is not relevant, if you have gained some kind of skill there which will help you here, do talk about it, okay. And Kalyan asks, can I tell my strengths and weaknesses? I was actually coming to that. So you can talk about your strengths there, but not your weaknesses. Weaknesses generally we talk about only when we are asked about it. Otherwise, stick to your strengths. They will not hire you for your weaknesses. They will hire you for your strengths. Okay, so when they have not asked you, when they have asked you, of course, talk about it. But when they have not asked you, let us not go to that weakness part. Let us focus on the strengths. You can talk about your strengths. Okay, so this is about this question, which is usually the first question asked. Okay, so let us now move on to the next one. Yes, so we just spoke about this. What are your greatest strengths and what are your weaknesses? Okay, so it need not be both. I have put both the questions together because they are interrelated. They could ask you first your strengths, then your weaknesses, or they could combine the question or whatever. So when you are talking about your strengths also, so prepare for this kind of question. It shouldn't be that you go there and wonder, oh, what is my strength? What shall I say now? We know that this is something they ask. Be prepared. Okay, you can talk about the things, your technical strengths, the other qualities that you have that will make you a good employee, a good candidate that should be hired. Speak about those things. Okay, don't just give a list of things. You can explain a little bit. Okay, especially when suppose you are saying that I am a very creative person. Okay, explain in a line or two at least why you are saying that. Don't just list out I am creative, I am this, I am that, and so on. Okay, in a line or two explain. And if you are asked what are your weaknesses, the main thing that you need to remember is do not say I have no weaknesses. Okay, so some people think that that is a good way to answer it, very smart they think, because then when you don't talk about your weaknesses, nobody will ask you, right? There's no question to ask. So don't think in that manner. When you are asked your weaknesses, you are supposed to talk about your weaknesses. If you say that you have no weaknesses, it means that you think you are perfect, which we all know we are not. None of us is, right? So you have to talk about your weaknesses. Now, when I say you need to talk about your weaknesses, doesn't mean that you list out all the weaknesses that you have and spoil your chances of getting the job, right? So when you talk about weaknesses, a few things that you can keep in mind. Don't say something that will, there is something that you really need to get that job and you say that you don't have it and that is your weakness. Then surely you will not be considered, right? Don't say things that are totally negative. Okay? So what can you say? You can talk about things that is a weakness but is really not very important for the job. Okay, something that you can build on. Say for example, I am a little nervous when I speak in front of the public. Okay, or when I make a speech, I get a little nervous. Now, if you are being considered for the post of software engineer, it is not important that you need to be a good public speaker, right? It is a skill that you can attain. You can get that skill with practice. If public speaking is the main thing required, of course I wouldn't recommend that. But if it is not, if it's a software engineer's job, you can say I feel a little nervous when I speak in front of a lot of people. Okay, but do not stop at that. So when you know that something is your weakness, what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to work on it, right? So talk about what you are doing to work on it too. So you can say that yes, speaking in front of the public is something that makes me a little nervous, but it is something I am working on. I am practicing and I'm sure that with some more practice I will overcome this weakness. So the intent to overcome that weakness should also be clear. Okay, and you can also maybe talk about something that was a weakness but that you have almost gotten over, and now it's not a weakness anymore. That is also fine. What is not okay is, don't say something really frivolous or something that is not important at all. For example, somebody says, if the interviewer asks what is your weakness, I don't know cooking. Now, is that something that is related to your job, in any way connected with your job? No. So don't talk about things that are not connected at all. Okay, so talk about things that are in some way connected but are not the most important thing. Or if it was most important, it's something that you had as a weakness but now you have overcome it. Okay, so keep these things in mind and don't say that I don't have any weakness. Okay, so that is your greatest strengths or weaknesses question. For this also, even for the weaknesses question, prepare in your mind. It's not that you need to by heart all the lines that you're going to say. Okay, it is not that you're going to go and act out there, but what points you're going to talk about, keep it in mind, and also maybe practice a little bit so that you are comfortable. Okay, so that is about your strengths and your weaknesses. Now let's look at the next question. There are two questions that I have put here. Why do you want to work with us? Second is, why should we hire you? Okay, so now these two questions might look similar to you. These are actually different. The first one is about you. The second one is about the company, right? So why do you want to work with us? It shouldn't, the answer shouldn't be something like, my work can help your company grow. Now, I wouldn't join your company because my work will help your company grow. Of course, I would like your company to grow, but that's not the reason I am joining your company. Why would I be joining your company? I have heard a lot about your company. Your company is very well known, a very prestigious organization. That is why maybe I'm just giving you, I'm not telling you this is the answer. I'm telling you the reasons. I might be joining it because the company I want to join because the company is a very good company. I want to join because I've heard a lot about the good work culture there. I want to join because these are the technologies your company is working on, and I'm very keen on working on these. So these things make sense. But a thing like, I would like to join you because I can help your company perform even better. That doesn't make sense at all. In fact, it's being a little arrogant, and it's not an answer to this question. Okay, so keep in mind what you want to say when you are asked why you want to work with us. Okay, for each company it may be different. If you might be answering multiple interviews, right? For each company it may be different. So keep these things, keep the answer for this in mind for that particular company. If you are going for company A interview, this is why I want to work with them. If it's company B, this is why I want to work with them, and so on. Okay, so any questions for why do you want to work with us? I hope that's clear. Okay, if there is something, you can put it on the chat. I will move to the next one. Why should we hire you? So the first one was about you. Now, why should we hire you? Here you need to talk about your strengths which will help the company. Okay, why the technical skills that you have, maybe the soft skills that you have, maybe your qualification, maybe whatever it is. Talk about those things and answer in a unique manner. Let it not be something that everybody else who are attending the interview are saying. Okay, let there be something unique about you which makes the interviewer feel that yes, this is the person for the job. Okay, so that is your why should we hire you question. All right, so can we move on to the next question, or is there something here that you would like to discuss? Please let me know on the chat. So if there is any question that you have about this question, anything like that, please let me know. So I see a question, what are the things that come under weakness, which I have already answered. Anything else? Okay, so I don't see anything, so I guess we can move to the next question. If there is, please put it on the chat and I will answer it when I see it. Okay, so look at these two questions. Tell me a couple of things that you liked about your college. And the next question is, tell me a couple of things that you did not like about your college. So you might be asked only one of these questions or both these questions, right? Okay, so Jiva, you are asking that I should assign myself as an engineer and give a few sentences. So what I would like to do, why I am just giving a general response here, Jiva, is because each person should say it in a different way. I am telling you the kind of things that you need to cover. Okay, so if I give a response, then it will be like the standard response. There is no standard response. It depends upon you, right? So you just need to keep in mind that, okay, I shouldn't be saying, for example, if I'm asked the weakness, I shouldn't be saying that I am a very lazy person. You can't say something like that, right? So things that you need to avoid, you need to keep in mind. So I wouldn't like to give a standard answer because there is no standard answer. Okay, so just make a note of the things that you can say, the kind of topics that you can cover, and do it in your own style. That is important. Okay. So Sarvesh asks, why should we hire you? You want the answer to that again? Why should we hire you? What I'm saying is, Sarvesh, you need to talk about what is in it for the company. Why should the company hire you? That is what they are asking, right? So you have a job description. You know what are the skills the company is looking for, the kind of qualities it's looking for. So you can talk about these things and focus on those and show the interviewer, showcase, that you are the perfect fit for the job. That is why they need to hire you. Okay, so look at the job description and accordingly explain why they need to hire you. So they might have asked for a few skills, right? So talk about your expertise in those skills. if there are soft skills required, or even if they are not mentioned there, okay, something like you're being a good team player maybe, or other soft skills that are required in any job. If you feel that you are very good, you have those skills, talk about that and explain to them that these are the reasons why that company should hire you. Okay. So Srinu asks, what about telephonic interview? The questions are likely to remain the same. So we have already spoken about preparation for a telephonic interview in our earlier session. I told you that we had done 2 sessions earlier. So these are just HR questions and answers, whether it is on telephone, or whether it's a video interview, or whether it's a face-to-face interview. The questions will not change, right? Okay. So all right, so let me go to this question now. Tell me a couple of things that you liked about your college. Now that I don't think is a problem, and let me tell you one thing here. Please do not say something like, I did not like anything about my college. Okay, that is not okay at all. Or if you are asked, tell me a couple of things that you did not like about your college, don't start a list of complaints that you have. Okay. So let me give you a comparison here to another question. Suppose somebody asked you about your family. Okay, somebody asked you something about your family, and a perfect stranger maybe asked you about your family. Whether tell me something that you don't like about your family. Would you go on making complaints about your family to them? Maybe there are certain things that you don't like. Maybe you have some difference of opinion with your parents, or you and your siblings always quarrel and you think that they don't share things with you. Whatever is the problem. Will you go and share, make it a major problem and tell a perfect stranger that this is the problem, that my family is not good at all and they I have all these troubles? We don't do that, right? We know what to say, what we like. Even if there's something that we don't like, we don't make a big issue out of it. You can say that, yeah, my sister and I quarrel sometimes, and sometimes it gets irritating, or something like that is what you would say. You would not talk bad things about them. Okay, so likewise, when you are asked something about your college, there may be a few things that you don't like, but don't make it a list of complaints. All right, and think about what you have to be. See, suppose today you are talking bad about your college. Tomorrow you may leave this company and start working in another company, and there, if you are asked about this company, you will talk bad things about this company. So that is how they would gauge your attitude. Right? So you wouldn't want something like that. So even if there's something that you did not like about your college, don't make a big issue of it. Okay, you can maybe you felt that it did not have a full-fledged library maybe. Okay, so I felt that there could have been a library could have been better equipped. Okay, however, the focus should move to the positive things. Don't just go on, say 1 or 2 things that you felt could have been better. Okay, let it not be some major issue, and then go on to talk. Even if they don't ask you, you can still say that, but there were several things that I liked about my college, such as you can mention 1 or 2 of them. Okay, or 2 or 3 of them. So bring the focus to the things that you like. So move away from that negativity to positivity, because it shouldn't be like you have studied in that college for so long, and then now this is what you have to say about it, right? It shows your attitude. So that kind of attitude we should not be having. And it's not just about an interview, it's about anywhere, I am saying. Okay, in an interview we need to be careful. Even otherwise, like I said, we wouldn't talk ill about our family. The same holds good for a college, the previous company that you worked, and so on. Okay, so that is about this question. Now let's look at another question. Tell me about a situation where you quit. What is the most difficult situation you have ever faced? These are 2 different questions. I have put it in on one slide. Okay, so tell me about a situation where you quit does not mean that they want you to tell them that I have never quit. Okay, So there's some situation where we all quit, right? There will be something, maybe we are not quitters, we do try again and all that, but there might be a situation where we realize that we had to quit. So they want to know about that, they want to understand you better. Okay, so talk about that situation without giving the impression that as soon as something difficult happens, I quit. That should not be the impression that you create. Okay, so you think about a situation and tell them what, don't straight away go to that I quit. Talk to them about the situation, what happened in the situation, that you tried and maybe you persevered, tried, and then after a certain point you felt that this is not going anywhere and that it would be better for you to leave that and move on to something else. It does happen to all of us, right? So explain that to them. That's all. Alright, so I see in the chat questions about how to apply. I'm not sure what application you're talking about. We are not talking about any specific company here. We are just discussing questions that could be asked in HR interviews. Okay? Alright. Let us move to the next question. What is the most difficult situation you have ever faced? Okay, again here they are seeing what is difficult for you, that is one thing, and they want to know what do you do when things are difficult. Okay, do you, as soon as it is difficult, do you say okay, this is not my cup of tea and move on to something else, or do you try, how do you try to find a solution? So they are testing you for multiple things here. Okay, so do not say things like no, I have not come across any difficult situation. All of us do. So you need to think a little bit and talk about it, and not just see all these questions. Please remember, in an interview, this is not a one word or one line answer. They want you to talk. Okay, when I say talk, doesn't mean you go on and on like I told you earlier, but a bit of explanation they want from you. So please do explain. Okay, when they are asking you for your most difficult situation, explain what the situation is, what was difficult about it, what you did to handle that situation. Okay, so all this needs to be done. All right, so let's move on to the next question. What motivates you to do a good job? Okay, and the next other question there is, what is the most important thing to you in a job? So this is also a kind of question a lot of companies ask. Okay, suppose you are attending a TCS interview, you might get a question like this: what motivates you to do a good job? So what would you answer? Can I know on the chat, what would you answer if you were asked what motivates you to do a good job, or what is the most important thing to you in a job? You don't need to write an entire sentence here. 2 or 3 words would do. So Roshan, these are the kind of questions that what we are discussing here are questions that appear in an HR interview across roles, right? So this is not any specific related to technology or anything. HR interview contains questions like this. So this is what we are asking. All right. So my ability to bring about change. Jiva, I did not quite get what you meant there. Oh, the circumstances around us, I think there's a typo there. You mean the circumstances around you. Okay. Enriching new skills, belief in yourself, teamwork. Okay, so different things you can talk about that motivate you. Think about what motivates you. Let it again not be one common answer that all of your friends decide. If they ask me this question, let us answer this. Okay, different things motivate different people. So think about what motivates you and talk about it, and let it not be an answer such as the money, salary. Okay, now salary is important, very important, I agree. The money part is very important, I agree. But that would not be the answer that you need to give. And secondly, though money is important, I can for sure tell you, if the other things that motivate you are not there and money is the only thing that is keeping you there, then you will not be able to do a good job. right? The money part might make you happy at first, but it will not sustain, right? So let that not be your answer, that money or salary, good money is what motivates me. Talk about the other things. Now I'm seeing some wonderful things that people are mentioning about the, in the chat. So belief in oneself, enriching news, you're getting new skills, curiosity in interested area. Well, I wouldn't call that an what motivates you. Okay, your curiosity motivates you to do better. Yes, that does make sense. Sorry. So it depends on you again. There is no one best answer. Think about what motivates you and answer, and explain a little bit. Okay, let it not be a one-line answer. All right. So the same thing for what is the most important thing to you in a job. Okay, so maybe your ability to work creatively is the important thing to you. Okay, ability, your chance to work on some cutting edge technology, that is important to you. So it differs for different people. So think about it and answer. Okay, good environment, yes. So like somebody mentioned earlier, the circumstances around a good environment, the learning that you get, yes, that's a very good answer, right? You are able, in your job, if you get the opportunity to learn, okay, learn new things, that is something that motivates me to do a good job. All right, so these are the different things that you can say. A question like this, okay, the next question I have moved on to, are you willing to relocate? Are you willing to work in any shift? Now there is no right or wrong answer here. This is dependent on you. Okay, so think about what you want to say. If you are willing to relocate, reply in the affirmative. If there is some constraint there, mention it. Similarly, shift. Suppose you say yes to everything and they hire you based on that, then you will get into trouble, because you have very clearly mentioned in the interview that you are willing to relocate, right? So think and answer. This is up to you. If you are willing to relocate, if you are willing to work in any shift, you can say that you are ready to do it. Okay. All right. So there's nothing to explain there, but I gave this here because some people think like, let's say we are willing to relocate and then let's see. Okay, afterwards we can tell them that we can't. That wouldn't be professional, right? So keep that in mind. Okay, so the next question is, what do you know about this company? Okay, so this is a question that companies do ask, and they expect you to have taken the trouble of finding out about the company, right? So today information is available in the public domain. It's there on the internet. All you have to do is a Google search, look at their website, and you know about the company, right? So things that you know about how old it is, the kind of business it does, what are the recent things that have happened there, who is maybe in the management. So be aware of these things, okay, and while you're going for the interview. So it shouldn't be like you know nothing about the company, or you can't go there and ask or say that I'm not sure, I don't know much about this company, right? That means you have not taken the trouble. You've gone for the interview without finding out more about the company. So ensure that you are prepared for this question, okay. So there was somebody asking in an earlier session, are you willing to sign a bond? Okay, this is again up to you. There is no right answer or wrong answer. If you are willing to sign, say yes. If you are not willing to, say no. Whatever it is, you think it over, and your answer, the fact whether you'll get the job or not will be dependent on your answer maybe. But then if you are not willing to, you have to tell them, right? So be prepared, okay. Yes, so Imran says know about their vision and mission. That's right. The vision, when you want to know, when they're asking you what do you know about the company, talk about the vision and mission of the company, the kind of business it does, and so on. Right. All right. So Are you a team player? Do you work well under stress? These are the next two questions listed here. Again, of course, if you say you have to be a team player, this, when you're working, right? Because you work in a team, it's not that you do a job individually. So when you're saying that you are a team player, explain again. Do you work well under stress? Give an when you are saying that you do, explain with an example, or in general terms, explain how you work well under stress. Okay, so do not just give one line answers. Give a bit of explanation so that they understand you better. Alright, so this is a question that is often asked. Who is the person you respect, admire the most? Or you can also be asked, who is your role model? So be ready with this kind of an answer, okay? The answer for this kind of a question, I mean. So think about who is your role model, okay? And in advance, and when you're answering, don't just say this person is my role model and stop. Tell them why that person is your role model and what qualities of that role model have you emulated or you're trying to emulate, okay? So when somebody is a role model, we want to be like that person, right? So just saying that this person is a role model is no use unless I'm putting in some effort to be like that person. Okay, so be ready with that. They might ask you who is the, people tend to say my father, my mother. All right, so not that they can't be a role model, but also be ready with other people. Suppose they say outside your family and friends, who is your role model, right? So you need to be ready with these answers. So keep that in mind. Okay, next is what is your ideal job, or if you could create the perfect job for yourself, what would you be doing? Okay, so here it could be a question like this. You could answer in terms of where you see yourself, maybe a few years from now. Okay, so maybe the perfect job for yourself would be where you are leading a team of people. Okay, or a perfect job may be working on some technology which is kind of related to what you are being considered for right now. So let there be some relation between what you are applying for and what is your perfect job. If there is no relation at all, then it means that you are not the right fit for the job, right? If what you want and what you are applying for is completely different, no connection at all, then there is a problem of fit there. You will not fit into that job, right? So think about what you would like to grow into maybe a couple of years from now, or the kind of work you would like to be doing after you start with this job, and then talk about it as the perfect job or your ideal job. Yes, and usually the last question is, do you have any questions for me? Now what happens to our students is, many are in a hurry to finish. Okay, the questioning is done. They think this is the last thing, and if I say no, I don't have any questions, I can escape. My interview will be over, right? Don't think of don't think of this as that question where you can avoid. Okay, so use this opportunity to ask questions, ask intelligent questions. Okay, not questions that where you can find the answers on the internet. Questions related to the kind of training you will get, maybe once you if you are hired, about a little more about the job, maybe. Okay, maybe you don't have a detailed job description, they have not given you, so you can ask questions about the job, or you have read something about the company's future plans, you want to know a little more, shows your curiosity about the company. All right, so ask these kind of questions. Let those questions not be like how much will be the pay, or how many days of leave will I get, and things like that. Okay, ask questions that show your interest in the job, your interest in the company, and avoid saying no, I don't have any questions. Okay, so this often is the last question, like I said. So these are the different kinds of questions asked. Of course, you could be asked anything. I have taken a few types so that you are clear in your mind how to proceed. Like I mentioned earlier, I am not giving you the perfect answer. I am telling you what are the things that you can keep in mind while answering. So I see a few questions. Let me just quickly look at them. I did not get your question, Jiva. If you could just rephrase it. Okay, if you could rephrase it, I will answer you. All right. So these are the kind of questions. So are you asking that is the question that you'll ask? What are the qualities that you are expecting from me? Is that what you are saying, Jiva? When the interviewer asks you, do you have any questions for me? Well, I wouldn't say that is the best thing to say, because you might have a job description and there are things that are mentioned there. So, and generally we know, right, what kind of qualities are expected. So maybe that would not be a good thing to say, what do you expect from me? You can talk more about the role. Okay, so what about what kind of work is involved, and if you don't have, if you don't know much about the work. Okay, yes, I got that, Jiva, now. All right. So just a minute. Okay, so these are the different kinds of questions, like I said, and when please keep in mind that you don't answer in one word, one line. Those should not be your responses. Explain whatever you can, as much as possible. Move away from the negative aspect of it. Do not avoid questions. Okay, say, like I said, do you have any weaknesses, or explain a situation when you failed. I never failed. Let that not be. In fact, you should have failed sometime in something, because then you know how to handle failure, right? So be careful while answering questions. Don't straight away say the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay, now see, these are questions we have just discussed. Now you would like to know how you actually should how you would fare in an actual interview. Okay, so we have a platform for you called eGuru, where which provides you on-demand mock interviews. Okay, so I have spoken about it earlier too, and even in the technical interview session we did speak about it. Okay, so what we notice is that people are now aware that, okay, these are the questions asked, and maybe this is how I should answer, but you don't get that actual experience of doing it, right? So this platform gives you that experience. Okay, and it's a very convenient platform, and you get the most important thing is you get interviewed by an industry expert, a domain expert. Okay, and you get feedback about how you did. So this is the the best platform for a mock interview. Okay, eGuru is the name. The website is www.eguru.oo, and these are one-on-one on-demand video sessions. Okay, like I said, you are given feedback, you get a score, and it's very convenient because it can be done anytime, anywhere. Okay, it's a video session, so you don't have to go anywhere, and a time that is suitable to you is fixed as the interview time. So let me quickly tell you how it works. Okay, what you do is you select your preferred industry and function, and you choose your convenient time, and the interviews are conducted through video call. All right, and each interview is for 35 minutes. Okay, the breakup is given on the screen here. So it starts with an icebreaker here. It starts with an icebreaker. Then some time is spent on your resume. You get feedback on your resume too, mind you. Then you are asked industry specific questions. A 10-minute mentoring is done. Okay, and before that, before the icebreaker, a couple of minutes for setting up the whole thing, of course. Okay, so this is how your 35 minutes is broken up into, and the interview happens, the mock interview happens. And a lot of people have from prestigious institutions have used this platform. The IITs, from the students from various IITs, from BITS, have used this platform and liked this platform, found it useful, and they have plenty of good things to say about eGuru. Okay, they have found it a great experience because it prepares you for the interview before the interview, right? And you get a detailed feedback, a detailed report later on once you finish, which you can have a look at, and you know what you need to improve on, what is good already, and so on. Okay, now because it is the festival season, we have an offer for you. Okay, so what you need to do is this: you need to go to eguru.triplo, okay, www.eguru.triplo, okay, and you need to sign up there. All right, after that you will see a dashboard. Okay, when you sign up there, you need to click on buy interview. There is a buy interview tab, you need to click on that. Okay, and like I told you, it's the festival season, so there is a box, there is a coupon text box. There in that coupon text box, you need to enter this code, Fest 2020. Okay, and you get a discount. You get a 30% discount. There's an offer, the festival offer, so don't miss it. Go to eGuru Triplo, sign up, that is, register. Signing up is the registering. Click on the buy interview and enter the coupon code, and then the mock interviews will happen once this procedure is completed. Okay, so do that, and it will really help you prepare for your actual interviews. Okay, and to know more about the sessions that are going to come up, please join our Telegram channel if you haven't already. The Telegram channel link is on the chat. Okay, so in the coming days we are planning sessions for Infosys. Okay, there are the aptitude questions for Infosys will be covered, and we will share details on the Telegram channel. Do join us when those sessions happen. All right, and we love conducting these sessions, and we would what we would like you to do to encourage us to perform, to continue with these and do even better, would be to leave reviews for us on Google. So the Google review link is on the chat. Please do go there and leave a review for us. And we are on social media. Please follow us on Facebook, on Insta. Please look at the other videos on our YouTube channel. Some of you, I think, are here for the first time. You were asking me questions that we have dealt with in our earlier interview sessions. So please do view those videos. They will really help. And our email and our contact details are here. All right. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all your questions, for all your responses. I hope this session has been helpful. Okay, and please do visit eGuru Triplo and use that coupon code. We'll see you soon. Have a great evening. Thank you.